shithead.
Yep.
The genesis of McGillicuddy.
Pass the ball,
The ultimate warrior.
Look
at the adjective. Play.
Can't run to Spanish!
Finally, The Rock has come back home.
I'm back.
The boys are back in the saddle on a different platform, so the Atomic Drop Show rides again on YouTube.
Did you miss me? Oh, how I have missed you.
You can talk a little wrestling with us by calling 803-369-3537.
You're gonna give me what I want. I've been asking for it for years.
And now, here are your hosts, Justin Tyme and Kyle Cruz.
Paul, say something stupid.
Oh, a little bit of the bubbly.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Justin Tyme of the Atomic Drop Show, and welcome to a special edition of the Atomic Drop Show. It is none other than our Wrestlemania Hangover Spectacular show. We haven't had one of these in a long time, but you know what? You know what, ladies and gentlemen? I think it's time to just crack one open here. Hang on one second. There it is. And I feel like I need to share this opportunity with none other than my co-host, Kyle Cruz. Kyle, how you doing?
I am doing fantastic, Justin. What is up, man? WrestleMania 36 is ended, and we are finally back on hopefully a better and more consistent platform. We are finally back on YouTube. The boys are back. Usually we hit you before the event with our hard sells, but this time we are coming back with your WrestleMania 36 hangover. Kyle Cruz, Justin Tyme in the building. Now, I gotta ask you,
yes,
what'd you crack open there? What you got over there? What you drinking, brother?
I have none other than a Genesee Light brewed right here in Rochester, New York.
Gotcha. So how would you describe that, man? Is that like a light brew, a dark brew, IPA?
It is a light. Drinking? It's a light brew. They have a light brew. They have a regular brew. Genesee Brewery, believe it or not, here in Rochester, is the oldest brewery here in New York State. So big props out to them.
Fantastic, dude. You know what? Had I known, I would have, just brought my own. Just bought my own brew to the party, but I didn't get the I didn't get the memo.
It's a hangover show, son. The only way to cure hangovers with more booze.
That's absolutely true. That is absolutely true. And with an event, 2 nights, I mean, look, I have to say the line. With an event too big for just one night, WrestleMania 36 is in the books. Was it 18 matches across 2 nights? One of the longest shows just combined. If this was like a 7 or 8 hour show, it would have been hell. I think being 2 nights did help. But there's just a lot of weird things going on, a lot of different circumstances. I mean, just all transparency for our new listeners here. I live in Orlando, Florida, and my good buddy Justin, he lives up in Rochester, New York. And Orlando is, like not terribly far from Tampa. It's basically in my backyard. We were actually gonna, go to WrestleMania and, just experience what would have been a pretty good card live. But because of all the things happening, the virus, which shall not be named because WWE refuses to talk about it. Things had to be moved into the PC. Completely empty building, empty arena matches, made for a unique setting. So I guess just on an overall level, what did you think of the show?
You know what? I thought about this after I was watching it. The first night 1 Saturday, I said, it is like a 3-hour halftime heat spectacular at an empty arena show. That is the best way to describe WrestleMania 36 this year. It is halftime heat for 6+ hours.
Is that a good thing in this case or a bad thing?
You know what? I'm going to take it as a sad thing, even though, given the state of affairs that we're in, I'm just happy that they were able to produce. There was a lot of people out there that were clamoring and thought the event should be canceled. And I flip-flopped on the matter. I said this once. I said this to a friend of mine, and he was asking for my opinion. And I said, during 9/11, WWE was the first massive sporting event that happened after the terrorist attacks. And I feel that WWE's call to arms was risen once more, and seeing how we have absolutely no outlet for any kind of entertainment outside of all of our streaming services, they felt the need to put on a wrestling event, some kind of sporting event, just to take our minds off the world. And honestly, for about 6 hours, I actually, I kind of tuned out, and I was just enjoying it very much. So I knew that DraftKings was probably going completely nut with the bettings, because they're itching to get whatever they can get a hold of right now.
Were they taking?
They were.
Really? I didn't know
They were taking bets. Absolutely.
I mean, now, look, to be completely honest, I don't even think I got half of the picks right. Like, I was off on a lot, so I'm glad I didn't bet on anything. Really quick, what was the most surprising result of either night, in your opinion?
Oh, the most surprising?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
I'm gonna put you on the spot, I know I already did, so that's my fault. But
okay. Becky retaining.
That's gonna be my pick too. Becky Lynch beating Shayna Baszler. Pretty unexpected, man.
It just was like I watched it and I went, oh, she won. I let out an oh, and the man prevailed, as rightfully so, and she told us all along that she would.
I didn't really think that there was too many places for Becky to go post Shayna if she did win. But I think the way they framed it kind of made it seem like the feud was going to continue, but just the initial shock of like, wait, Shayna lost. How does that even, I don't get it. But, the feud's going to continue, and we'll see how that all plays out over the next few, weeks. We don't really know what's going to happen with tapings and Raw and just what those schedules are looking like. But
absolutely,
hey, that was one of biggest
many
shock.
Surprises.
Yeah, that was my biggest shock, though.
But before we go any further, I feel like we need to drop the phone number here.
Absolutely.
Real quick. So this is a brand new venture for us. We're streaming live right now on YouTube, and we are also recording, which will be available on anchor.rn or FM, excuse me. And you'll be able to download this beautiful podcast soon available. But if you guys want to tune in right now to listen to us, you can dial in at area code 803-369-3537. Again, I will slow that down. It is area code 803-369-3537. The area code is out of Columbia, South Carolina. We both know I'm from New York. He's from Florida. It's just how it worked out. So we're going to take it as it is right there.
Absolutely.
We're just going to meet in the middle.
We're going to meet in the middle. And so that is our number here moving forward here on the Atomic Drop Show. So for our listeners on Anchor and wherever you may find us, if you're listening to this on demand. However, if you're watching YouTube, we made it easy. The number is right there on your screen. You can't miss it. Call in, talk a little WrestleMania 36 with us, but hey, we cover damn near everything. So
hey, Lord knows that.
Absolutely. So call us up. You see the number, chat with us about WrestleMania and anything you want going on in the wrestling world. once again, Kyle Cruz, just in time. Here, the return of the Atomic Drop Show with our WrestleMania Hangover, man. It has been a cool minute since we've joined you guys, and it's a thrill to be back, right?
Yeah, we missed you. I feel like that we need to do some explaining. We spoke a big game about how we were going to hit up Spreaker, and Spreaker was not what it was all cracked up to be. We hit roadblock after roadblock after roadblock, and we needed to connect. And we decided that after a lot of hemming and hawing between going back to Blog Talk or coming to here,
that was never an option. Don't get it twisted. Going back to Blog Talk was not an option.
It was one-sided. And I got talked off of a ledge and pretty much decided that YouTube would be the best course of action from here on out, and I'm excited to do that.
Absolutely, man. You know, we have sadly kind of created this trend when it comes to Spreaker and when it comes to Radio DDT and just all these various things. Shout out to Degenerate John Steel Cage Radio. They're awesome.
The fun fact is, though, our return this time was a lot faster than it was prior.
This is true. It only took one frustrating night and a mildly frustrating half of a day today to actually get this set up. But we are happy to do it. All transparency, this was supposed to occur last night. We were going to do a night one stream as well, but didn't really happen. But we are happy to be here talking with you here on the Atomic Drop Show. So, for our listeners on demand, let's just get into it. Overall, PC Mania, WrestleMania 36, the granddaddy of them all, the biggest event of the year, within the confines of what they had to work with. Did this event feel like WrestleMania?
It felt like WrestleMania. It it had the star power. It had the matches. The effort was definitely there. You saw them working their asses off trying to perform exactly what they wanted to do.
Absolutely.
I mean, there was no lack of effort in any way, shape, or form. But the adrenaline was sadly, obviously missing. I wish that high octane energy was there for them. But other than that, given the circumstances of what has transpired, it definitely did feel like WrestleMania. It had the feel-good moments. It makes me want to tune into tomorrow on Monday night. That's for damn sure, to see what is going to happen.
You know, it really did feel like a babyface heavy show, which I'm sure was by design with all the bad news and everything like that. But no, like it totally seemed like almost every babyface went over. And I'm going through the card and
I can name a couple.
Sure.
Off the top of my head. Daniel Bryan did not go over.
Hey, all right. Really quick. I have to say this. We need justice for Sami. We need justice for Sami Zayn because, you know, it's not like they did the whole end of the night recap package, just edit as you go kind of a thing. They had time to do a night one recap of WrestleMania, and they included every match but one. They didn't show Sami Zayn beating Daniel Bryan in the highlight package. So that is an automatic fail by the production team. Automatic fail. Which I love them because they're the best at what they do, but for whatever reason, they just plumb forgot about that match. Or couldn't get it in due to time constraints or whatever it was. Just had to get that ran out the way. Sorry.
No problem. So we had that one. We had Bayley retaining.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Bayley retained. We also had... Oh, excuse me. Hangover. We also had whatchamacallit, completely drawn a brain fart right here. Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley lost.
Rhea Ripley lost. Yeah, we can get into that in just a little bit. But yeah, that's another one. That's another big one. To me, it's not surprising, but I don't think it's going to pan out the way they want it to. But
I mean,
yeah.
Outside of those 3 matches, 3 or 4 matches, those are like the only ones that didn't necessarily win.
So I will also add John Morrison.
Yep.
He came down with the tag team
That's
titles.
Yep.
Trying to think if there was anything from tonight. Anything else from tonight?
Nope. We had Otis win.
Shout out to Otis, man. Otis is the GOAT, man. Like he's officially 1-0 in non-battle royal matches at WrestleMania. So,
You know what? He
awesome.
ties Michael Cole's record right now.
Him and Michael Cole are tied. Both of them have greater win-loss records than Jerry the King Lawler. And if I'm not mistaken, Otis and Michael Cole have more WrestleMania victories. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but they have more than Sasha Banks does.
I think you are correct in that.
I don't believe Sasha Banks has ever won at WrestleMania. So she's creating the anti-streak.
Yeah.
Was it like 0-5? Something like that, right?
She's up there.
It's pretty substantial considering how how good she is and how well regarded she is. But yeah, she hasn't won on the big stage yet.
That is 100% true. She's walked in champ and has lost. I mean, last year she was tag team champions and lost to the Iconics.
Wow. So it seems like the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, and because we're going into that match, we might as well just dive into the card because that kicked off the main card action of WrestleMania. Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss are the new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, but it seems like if you win those tag team titles, you're just destined to just carry around gold, but you don't really do much. The Iconics didn't do a single thing with it. Asuka and Kairi Sane, they didn't do anything with them.
They are the equivalent of a hood ornament on a hoopty.
Well, wait, who's the hood ornament and who's the hoopty?
Well, I'm just the titles are just a hood ornament, man. I mean, it's just like, oh wow, look at that, that's pretty cool. And then whoever holds those championships are just a hoopty. It's like, all right, here they are, and they're not going to do anything.
See, but it's the classic like Vince Russo kind of mentality of the title is a prop, but it still has meaning. Therefore, if the person just wins the championship, that makes them valuable. But that's not necessarily the case. You have to create stories around whoever your champion is. The only person they can get away with not doing that for is Brock Lesnar. But he's
Correct.
a completely different animal. It's why Brock can be away for 4 months and then show up and be instantly credible. But otherwise, you need all the help you can get.
Now, do you agree with what Russo said, that it's just a prop, or do you actually believe that the title does mean something?
So here's the thing. The title is a prop, but it is a valuable prop if you use it. The issue with Russo was that, just at least in the WWF day, or the WCW days, where he would just throw the belt on Jeff Jarrett on a random Thunder and think people would care. and think people would care just because it was a title change. Which, sure, like you might get a mild crowd pop for it, but if you don't have a significant reign with that belt, if you don't make credible title defenses, which guys like Jarrett never did, you had guys like Booker T who were put in really crappy situations during their title reigns. It not only devalues the talent, but it devalues the actual belt. So it's kind of a two-way street. Like one should help the other at all times. It's never once you win the title, you're made. Because if that's the case, then Braun Strowman would be completely made 24 hours after night one. But he's not. The conversation after last night was not about how Braun Strowman came in and took Goldberg's offense and took out Goldberg in, I counted, 2 minutes and 16 seconds. People weren't talking about that. He beat Goldberg. He beat the indestructible Goldberg. He beat the guy that beat The Fiend, who was truly indestructible. Nobody's talking about that.
Totally agree with that. I can't argue any of that. That's 100% on point.
I didn't mean to jack your points, but it's just
no, that's cool.
It feels like there has to be a happy medium between the person that wins the title and the meaning. Because here's the thing, like you could put your main title on a guy like, okay, I will turn the question around on you.
Oh boy.
All right. So the age-old question of, is the belt just a prop? Does the man make the title, or does the title make the man? Here is the ultimate conundrum. I present to you 2017
Okay.
Jinder Mahal, the 50th WWE champion. Did he make the title? Did the title make him?
The title made him.
So, then my next question is, are you a made man after you win the championship for the duration of your title reign only, or just from here on out? Because here's the thing too. 1 year ago, Kofi Kingston won the WWE Championship. Now, I will always remember that because that was an incredible moment. But just a year removed, do you, like, when Kofi comes out throwing pancakes and gyrating with Big E and Xavier, do you think this man is a former WWE champion?
You look at him and you don't think so.
Right.
The problem is with WWE, they just rocket fire so fast with their championships. They got away with the rematch. You lose the championship and you get a rematch. That no longer exists. I hate that rule. Despise that stupid rule now of McMahon. That led up to complete closure and moving on to the next challenger. I mean, you're off the freaking Richter scale as soon as you lose the championship and you're gone away, unless you're Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, he just seems to just be, because he has the credibility, and that's and I think that's one of the main reasons why people don't necessarily like Brock Lesnar as champion, because he has instant credibility to do whatever he wants all the time, so he doesn't need that championship. If the title does indeed make the man, then you would need a guy like Drew McIntyre to win the belt, because before this build started, he was in a middling faction with Ziggler and Lashley and whatever, like at the end of 20 18 or maybe even this year, man, I forget. But it's like, you know, there's a like he didn't have a great position on the card, and so once you give him this rub, it's like, okay, he's a main eventer now. But some guys it works for, other guys it doesn't, unfortunately.
Totally agree. I mean, but when you have that championship, you are the man. The championship makes you. It makes you into a better performer. It puts you at the top pinnacle of your professional career. It does something to you mentally. I cannot relate to that. However, that is what I feel.
So, I mean, it seems like there's conflicting evidence depending on who you are. Because if you're a guy like a Jinder Mahal, who was headlining pay-per-views, he headlined he feuded with Nakamura, he feuded with Randy Orton in that Punjabi prison match, you know, and all this stuff. That was a blast from the past, man. Like I totally forgot about that until just now. And I'm thinking of just how crappy that match was. But in any event, you know, you had Jinder, who had like a pretty respectable, like it lasted 5-6 months, something like that, right?
Absolutely. I mean, Jinder, but also Jinder was also put on there to help strike a deal with India.
This is true. There were other business interests at heart. Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not faulting him because he is well deserved. And as it stands right now, 2 or 3 members of 3MB are current and former world champions. So Heath Slater is up next.
Heath Slater is up next. I would.
My man.
I think the best chance he'd have would be probably if you go. Yeah, man, that's tough. Because you can't necessarily send him down to NXT anymore. Fox, he'll never be a champ on Fox. And Raw, nah, man, I don't see it. So, I don't know, man. Like, he might have to go somewhere else to even think about being some kind of world champion. But it is what it is. But, so, like, I bring all this up to contrast the whole man makes the title versus the title makes the man. Because when you have a guy like CM Punk, who during his 434-day reign as champion, he hardly actually main evented any shows.
True.
But people think of him and they look back at him fondly as a main eventer, as a WWE champion, rather than a guy like Jinder or a Kofi or even a Dolph Ziggler, who had, as JBL put it, the greatest cash in WWE history. I think it is still untouched. There isn't anything to me. Well, no, scratch that, because the heist of the century. So Seth Rollins is first. Beyond that, it's a second. But Dolph had one of the greatest cash-ins ever. But you don't look at Dolph and think, oh yeah, he's a former world champion.
No, you don't. Nobody does that.
So it's an interesting conversation to have as far as what's like what the value is being a champion. Do you have to be a pre-made man to have people already, or to have people care about your title reign?
See, it goes two ways here.
Sure.
It also goes like Cesaro when he won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
Mania 30.
Yep, I was there. And I mean, that was a big deal then. And now look at him. He is the kickoff show.
He won, though.
He did win. He definitely did win. but it's like he won it. He got all this praise. He became a Heyman guy, and all of a sudden, he's now on the pre-show.
Yeah, so that is once again a thing where you can be helped or handicapped by your booking. It's the Rey Mysterio problem as well. He had this great moment in 2006 when he won the belt at Mania 22, and he was booked to lose in non-title matches to Big Show and the Great Khali and all these guys, and it's like, well, what's the point? Now, Ray was already a made man at the time, but he still, he still didn't, like, people just didn't connect to him as a champion. He certainly had his fans. I know you're not the biggest fan of his, but he still had his fans. But as a champion, it wasn't very good for him. So you have to think, does the man make the title or vice versa? Great conversation to have. Just wanted to throw it out there for our folks watching here on YouTube. You see the number on your screen. Give us a call. Talk a little bit about WrestleMania 36 or whatever is on your mind right now.
We're also professional therapists.
Yes, we are. We and we don't charge.
No,
at least not yet. But times are tough, so we might have to consider it. You see the number on your screen, so feel free to give us a call if you want to talk some wrestling with us. So Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross are the new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. They defeated Asuka and Kairi Sane. I thought that this was one of the underrated highlights of the show. I really liked Nikki Cross. And this was the first time she really got to shine in a major way on the main roster. And it was just a great night for him, and I'm happy for her. I want to see more happen with Asuka and Kairi Sane in the singles divisions. So I'm liking that decision. What was your thought on that match?
My thoughts on the match. I thought it was a semi-decent match. Mrs. Tyme was actually watching this match.
She was, and she gave me her opinion on it. And what did she think?
Her opinion was that as a female, she was embarrassed for that match.
Wait, why?
She said it was just completely sloppy.
Completely sloppy. All right.
That was her. Those were her words, not mine.
Hey, look, maybe she was watching something, and she's not. I think it's safe to say she's not a massive fan of wrestling. So,
she is. She
massive fan though.
Not a massive. She's a casual.
Okay.
But she said that, and I quote, "This match set women's wrestling back."
Wow. Okay. So then what?
Yep.
So
Culture shock.
So then what I need you to do, I need you to go to the network and pull up WrestleMania 19 and show the cat fight with the Miller Lite cat fight girls. Like, I need you to show her that and talk about what's the what's setting back women's wrestling, because it even if it wasn't great, it wasn't that bad.
I mean, it's no that Jackie Gata match, but
the stuff of legend.
The match that shall not be talked about.
It
never happened.
Didn't they edit it off the network?
Did they?
There was some match that was so bad that it was on an episode of Raw, but they edited it out. It was almost like the Tom McGee situation where it was that bad, but it just No, I thought. I don't think it was there, or I don't think it's on the network. So, fine.
I have this.
Yeah.
I have this image of that poor editor just sitting there ripping out his hair, trying to make chicken salad out of it, and he's unable to produce it.
Dude, I have been on that side many times, and you just got to throw up your hands and say, look, you just got to eat it how I'm serving it up, because some things you just really can't make chicken salad of. But hey, either way, so that was Mrs. Time's opinion of it. How about you? What did you think about that match?
You know, I thought it was decent looking.
Decent looking. Okay.
It was decent looking.
Okay.
It was the feel good. It set the bar for the show.
Absolutely.
And I much like you, I like Nikki Cross. I like Alexa Bliss. I like Bliss Cross Applesauce.
Bliss Cross Applesauce. Absolutely.
I love that. It's cute. And I thought it was cool. I felt bad for Kairi. You and I spoke about this, how she did not get her pirate chip.
I really think that Mania is coming to Tampa once this whole thing settles down. I hope it's back in time. You know, like, I hope we're up and going for Mania next year in LA, because I'm definitely going back home. But I think the next year in 2022, it'll be back in Tampa.
If we make it.
If who makes it?
If we make it.
Well, let's be an optimistic bunch. How about that?
Very true.
Okay.
But what the only thing that I frowned upon with that match was the ending to it. How Alexa went for the Twisted Bliss, and she pretty much just landed on poor Kairi's knees. And
right.
And I watched it and I went, oh no, and she sold her ribs, and I was like, oh, poor thing, and that's how they won. So that's the only thing I could take away from that match. I felt bad.
Yeah, it wasn't the best moment for Kairi. Because she wasn't even there for any of the build. I think she was barely able to move or to fly in to wrestle the one match and then head back home to her new husband and all that jazz. But it's like this whole thing has robbed us of obviously much greater things. But one of the potential highlights is Kairi Sane coming out from this dang pirate ship. When they come back, this needs to happen. Like, I am looking forward to it. I am putting my prop bets in. I'm going to DraftKings right now and lay that bet. 2022, when Mania comes to Tampa, it's going to happen. Kairi's going to get that fantastic entrance.
Speaking of the entrance too, Jason Powell over ProWrestling.net made a very valid point.
Mm-hmm.
They said that WrestleMania was too big for one night, so they stretched it over the two. However, production team did not see it fitting to make two different promo packages for the beginning of the show.
Listen, man, look, I respect Jason Powell as much as his readers and everybody. Like, I followed him for a very long time, but come on, dude. Like, just once again, all transparency for our new listeners. That's my job. I am in wrestling production. That's my full-time job. At least it was before this pandemic hit. But I have sat down. You have heard me on the phone, stressed out, trying to put together.
Oh yeah,
promo packages.
I hear it the moment I say, "Hey, buddy."
Yeah. Hey, I'm sorry, man. It's never you. But it's like, but you know, to try and come down hard on the production team for not crafting two packages. You know what? Nah, like that's pretty crappy, especially because WWE didn't actually advertise up front until the day of what matches were going to be on what night. Because as far as I believe, they were still editing the entire show Friday night.
Oh, really?
That's what reports say. So if I'm the production team, then I'm like, hey, like there is absolutely no way. There is no way I'm gonna sit and try and do all this guesswork, trying to anticipate the mind of Vince McMahon or just whomever. It's not.
God
exactly
bless
fair.
you if you can.
I don't think even Vince himself can do that.
Yeah.
So I will give the production team all the credit in the world. They did their very best to make it feel like WrestleMania, the best they could. Promo packages included. So he can go take that view elsewhere as far as I'm concerned.
Hey, look at you sticking up for your profession. I'm proud of you.
Somebody has to do it.
Like I said, I just saw it and I was like, that's is valid. I like the Jack Sparrow sounding guy too.
Yeah,
I thought
that was
cool.
neat.
That was cool. I was disappointed to get to see Paul Burchill come out. I had high hopes for Paul Burchill.
Shout out to Paul Burchill, freaking Katie Lee Burchill, freaking what was Paul Burchill's his finishing move?
Oh Lord, I couldn't even possibly tell you.
I think his
It's
signature,
been a couple years.
like his signature was called like walk the plank, and I think he did. Did he call it like the C4 or something like that? I'll have to look it up. We are on YouTube, so I might just have to look it up in a minute. But yeah, no Paul Burchill, no pirate, no actual pirates, unfortunately.
I just want to run something past you real quick. I know we're kind of jumping.
Yeah, what's up?
So Vince McMahon did not understand Paul Burchill at all, correct?
Correct.
Because he was Johnny Depp,
Right.
who was Jack Sparrow.
Yes.
But now we have a Jack Sparrow sounding impersonator.
Well, yeah, but this was like 2006 or 7 when this was going on, so there's a difference.
You think to tell me he actually sat down and watched Pirates of the Caribbean?
I highly doubt it. By the way, Stomp Master Gaming, we are seeing you in the chat. Thanks for checking us out. By the way, yes, Walk the Plank. I believe Walk the Plank was the name. It was either the name of the finisher or kind of like his setup signature move. But Walk the Plank, I do remember that being, or like that name being used on commentary. So thanks for the shout, and thanks for checking us out, man. We really appreciate it.
Good up on you, buddy.
Absolutely.
But let's go back now. Like I said, Mrs. Tyme thought the match set women's wrestling back. She was not happy with it, and then she proceeded to go upstairs, go to bed. So with that, I proceeded to watch night 1 of WrestleMania downstairs by myself, and I was thoroughly enjoying myself.
On the first night, because the first night was a little shaky.
The first hour sucked. Okay, I'll flat out admit it. The first hour was slow. It sucked because everyone was still trying to adjust. I think it was more of a mental thing, saying, "All right, this is what we get for the next 2 nights. Let's learn to accept it." And I think if we got over that mental block, and if I go back and rewatch it now, I feel like I would be more inclined to like it. But as I sit right here, as I live and breathe, that first hour sucked.
Yes, it did. In that first hour, you had the women's tag team championship match. It's fine. Elias defeating King Corbin. Look, man, I'm tired of Elias. I'm tired of King Corbin. I didn't want to see them.
Still love me, Elias, man.
Dude, here's the thing. He was okay, but just him as a babyface just doesn't work to me. He's a natural heel, and he could play the guitar, but he shouldn't ever sing.
He has an album out.
Have you listened to it?
Okay, I did. So I know I've told you this before.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull back the curtain here a little bit here.
All right.
I work at a doctor's office. And when I go to fill in at the other office in town, the other doctor shares the same name as me. So I would go, Justin, hello, this is Justin. How can I help you? And they go, Justin, how you doing? You remember such and such? And I go like, no, wait. That's a doctor. That's a doctor. So I had to think of an alias. So now, to avoid confusion and crazy HIPAA laws, I decided to just say, hello, my name is Elias. Thank you for calling. How may I help you? And then I always get, hello, Elias.
That's fantastic.
And it's even better because I am the only male receptionist, so it sounds like we have an army of male receptionists everywhere we are now, and it makes me feel pretty popular. So when somebody sits there and says, I spoke to Elias, and it's like, oh, yeah, I know that guy. Cool dude. My best friend.
That's your best friend? Gosh.
He's my best friend.
Oh man. I like Elias fine. Like as an act, he's cool, but he's a babyface, and you know, he can play the guitar. That's not up for debate. But he's not a very good singer. And when your gimmick is okay, you used to be a drifter, but now you no longer drift. You just, you know, I guess you're flying with the crew now. But you go from that to you're just this great singer, except he's not a great singer. Like every time he sings, it legit makes me want to turn the channel. So as a babyface, it just doesn't work, at least to me. He's a fine act, but yeah, man, it is what it is. By the way, just got to do an audio shout out, Josh. My man, what is happening in the chat? Stomp Master Gaming, old buddy from college. What's happening, man? Good to see you. It's been a minute. It's been a cool minute. We'll have to catch up sometime soon, man. Hope you're enjoying the show. And if you are watching here on YouTube, you see the number. Feel free to give us a call. Chat. Talk a little wrestling with us. You know what the deal is, all right? So what'd you think overall? Elias, King Corbin, that whole deal.
I liked it. Of course, I'm biased because Elias, but I'm happy to see Elias finally get a match at WrestleMania. It wasn't like a performance. It wasn't something hokey. It wasn't a backstage segment. He got an honest to God match. And it's been like 2 WrestleManias, or at least 3 WrestleManias, if even. And the guy finally gets a match. He finally wins. He gets to go over. I was happy. I thought the quality of the match was what it was, working with Baron Corbin.
Now, I will say Baron Corbin is an underrated big man. Is he great?
Oh, yeah.
No, absolutely. No. But if you put Corbin against the right guy, you have something. I thoroughly enjoyed the match he had with Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. Now, it was a walking brawl. It's fine. There are certain areas you can get Corbin to shine, and that is one of those matches. This one from last night, not so much. He's just to me, you had 2 heels that just they're charismatic, but if your gimmicks are all about crowd heat and there is no crowd, it's just a recipe to me for disaster. And it was a low light for me on this show, especially in that first hour on night 1.
I wholeheartedly agree, but like I said, they had what did we say? 18 matches.
18 matches.
They all can't be winners.
This is definitely true. And you want to know who also cannot be a winner after this past weekend? Shayna Baszler.
Your girl.
Yes. So for anybody here who is joining us for the very first time, it is no secret to our loyal listeners, but I am a fan of Shayna Baszler. In every single way imaginable, I am a massive fan of Shayna Baszler. And the fact that she did not defeat Becky Lynch at WrestleMania is
Mind blowing.
It's mind blowing, and I don't get it. You had Becky Lynch run through the entire Raw women's division for the last year. She won the belt last year at WrestleMania, and now just what's happening? You have Shayna come in as hot of a heel as you can have, and she loses in her first one-on-one encounter. Now, wherever this goes, I'm sure it's going to lead to Shayna winning the belt, but I was really underwhelmed.
I agree. It was just like a oh snap moment when she won. I mean, big props to Becky. She came in on her tractor trailer, big old Peterbilt right there, nice looking truck right there, nice tall stacks.
Right.
And I know that means nothing, but coming from a family of tractor trailer drivers, I tend to pick up on a couple things right there.
Absolutely.
And it was an okay match. I thought it was good. It a surprise end result right there. It looked like it was an identical pin job to what it was last year against Ronda. There it is.
Now, was it me or were Shayna's shoulders also not down in this one either?
I saw it. They did two different camera angles, and they both showed the shoulders were down. At least that's what I saw. Maybe I missed.
Okay.
I saw both. All
right. Well, then maybe I was thinking maybe that's what leads to them continuing the feud, but especially if it's a decisive win like that, where it's a decisive definitive 3 count, it's not the best. It's not the best. But I don't think there's anybody else on the Raw roster unless there is a draft, but I doubt there's going to be any huge shakeups going on in the immediate future. But yeah, Shayna's, I don't know. She's my girl, and she
is. Calm
down. She was poised to walk into WrestleMania and win the title, and I don't necessarily get it, but I still have faith and I still have hope in my girl that she's gonna go through Becky Lynch and the entire Raw roster just like she did the entire roster at NXT.
I wholeheartedly agree. I don't know what is left for Becky unless it's now just a feud with Shayna and they continue it going.
I would like to see Becky away from the title, because I think just generally speaking, the women's division on Raw has been really lacking, and because of the result of the NXT Championship match, you're gonna have a pillar in Charlotte not be on the show for a little while. Get Becky away from the belt, and have Becky start a feud with a Ruby Riott or something. Just give us some kind of a fresh new matchup. Which I
would love to see Ruby step up.
I mean, hey, if we can see Ruby built up and maybe just kind of turn her baby face in the process, or just however that may work, I'm kind of down with that, because long term there's a lot that Ruby can offer, and I think she has a fantastic upside.
I love Ruby. I love Ruby Riott. I think she's completely underutilized.
Yes.
She's got so much drawing potential. She was a huge draw in the Indies. She is a well-seasoned veteran. That's why she was brought in to work with Liv Morgan, because Liv Morgan still a little green.
No,
granted,
absolutely.
she did come up through the system, but we all know that Ruby could sit there and carry her through all the matches.
True. I mean, she has just about everything you could ask for, and for whatever reason, I mean, okay, so look, she's had...
Hang on. I don't mean to cut you off, but we're getting a caller calling in right now.
Let's go ahead and go to it.
All right. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Hello, caller.
Hello, this is Josh.
Hey, what's going on, Josh? What's happening, man?
What's up, dude? Just listening into the show. Wanted to kind of chime in on the whole Shayna and Becky situation.
Most definitely, man. What are your thoughts on it, bruh?
So I was actually watching. I was watching the match with my girlfriend here, and she's starting to get into wrestling. She likes Alexa Bliss and all this other stuff. But as they're watching the match, and when I saw Shayna just completely working over Becky, and then when they get back at the ring, I'm like, watch, this is where we have the face overcoming the odds and start to come back, because usually that's how WWE like does all their storylines.
That's the formula.
You know, yeah, exactly. So you have the heel beat down, and then the face will then take over from there and overcome all the odds, beat them down, and then win. But then when that pin happened, it's like, oh, well, that was a quick flurry. I didn't even see Becky really do much of offense when they got back in the ring. So yeah, it was definitely shocking. And I was reading some reports that like Vince is no longer high on her, on Shayna, which he can do turn of a dime, be high on somebody and then be away from them and not like them anymore, and would cause a result like this, where they just fall off the face of the earth, where she had so much momentum riding into this match that she was the clear, obvious winner. But
yeah, there's a lot of weird decisions that are made. You know, Vince can like, he's notorious for changing his mind. Just
last minute,
right? So just so like just
like the Royal Rumble. It was 2 weeks before the match or 2 weeks before the pay-per-view, before they changed the winner, because it was supposed to be Roman Reigns, according to all the reports, and all of a sudden it was going to be Drew McIntyre.
Well, yeah, but I think the difference there is that there wasn't a reason to have Roman win if the plans were going to be the same, because they knew no matter what, it was going to be Roman versus Goldberg or Roman versus The Fiend. It was like, so
right.
He was going to get that SmackDown title shot no matter what. So they probably figured, okay,
right.
So we need to get over Drew to beat Brock. And so what better way to do that than to give him that massive Rumble win? So I don't necessarily think I don't know if it's Vince changing his mind as far as like, I'm deciding on this guy to run with for the next few months and years. It's more so who needs that particular match win more. Is it Reigns, who's already made, or Drew, who they need to rehab? And I think it was just
build a star.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're building a star at that moment. Lately the WWE hasn't really done a lot of that. They've been just relying a lot of their older folks to kind of carry the company, and it hasn't really been working too much. That's why Goldberg was back in the picture for a while. Brock's been back in the picture for Vince has been champion for a while, just because they're trying to rely on all these older people who have already established stars, and they haven't really had a chance to build too many people up. I mean, The Fiend was one of them. They didn't really they built him up, but then they just crushed him at Hell in a Cell. So, but yeah, I think it's the same thing with. I mean, they're doing it's similar but different as well. With Shayna.
So you brought up Goldberg, and them not really building up new stars. Braun Strowman isn't new, but he's a part of the newer crop, as just compared to Goldberg or even a Roman Reigns or what have you. So Braun Strowman won the Universal title last night. What was your thoughts on that?
Yes. Oh, when he did it, I was screaming. I was like, yes, finally. because he's been pushed so much when he was fighting Brock and he was fighting, I think he was fighting Roman as well.
Yes.
Where they just, it was pay-per-view after pay-per-view after pay-per-view, and he just loses and clean. And he deserved it. You know, he's been he was pushed pretty hard against both of those guys, and just he started to get like a stigma on him where he would just be losing. Like he'd talk all this big game and then he'd lose. Like that's what happened to Bray Wyatt before he had to change his character, because he would talk this big old game and then he'd lose.
Well, so there were three of them. There was Braun Strowman, there was Bray Wyatt, and now the only one that's left that always talks a big game but never wins championships is my guy Samoa Joe. I'm still waiting for that defining Samoa Joe win. I still want it.
Yeah. I remember watching all these guys back in the early 2000s in TNA. AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe. Those are the three staples that just held down that company and propelled them to the little fame that they actually had.
Absolutely.
And then when they left, you know, James Storm and Bobby Roode were the staples. And Chris Sabin, Eric Young. Oh, who else? Who's in Ring of Honor? Jay Lethal.
Yeah.
Those guys were running rampant all over in that company. So it's cool to see a lot of these guys coming up in WWE, like Bobby Roode and Samoa Joe. Unfortunately, Bobby Roode is nowhere to be seen. They've shoved him so far down the mid card, it's unbelievable. But it's probably another story for another day.
Yes, I mean there's a lot of start and stop pushes, and there are a lot of severely underpushed guys. Robert Roode was just, in my estimation, for what he needed to be. To me, Bobby Roode is probably the greatest NXT champion there's ever been. I'll
have to challenge you on that. I think Finn Balor, but that's my opinion.
For what Robert Roode needed to be at the time. So yeah, like with Finn Balor, you're always gonna get awesome matches, and that's fantastic. You know, like you're gonna get great matches. You are gonna get the show with the different, demon body paint and face paint and all that kind of stuff. He was the overall package. But I think as far as a champion who really, and Justin, to our point,
yes,
about a half hour ago, the whole question of does the man make the title or vice versa, I think Bobby Roode made the NXT championship, because there wasn't anything he wasn't willing to do to keep that title. And I don't know if there's any champion, Kevin Owens included, Finn Balor, Neville, maybe Bo Dallas if we're talking pre-network era, but I'm talking about just in general.
Okay.
Tommaso Ciampa, to a certain extent, he's probably the closest, but there isn't anybody else probably besides those two that have made the NXT championship feel as important as him. It just, I can't think of anybody else.
Okay, I can see that. I can see that for sure. But honestly, since we're talking about NXT, I think the real losers of this weekend was NXT, because they lost their event.
So they're airing all of the takeover matches. They taped them a couple weeks ago, and they're spreading them out.
Yeah.
You do want the takeover environment, because some people just really thrive in that environment, and there are some women who like say some of the women in the ladder match, they feed off of energy, and without that it kind of suffers. I mean, we even saw that during this weekend as well. Like some matches and some events, you just need a raucous crowd, and to me, it doesn't feel like a takeover if there's no crowd. So yeah, it is a massive loss for NXT this weekend. Hopefully when they come, or when we're back in LA next year, hopefully things will be back to normal and we can get a normal takeover and we can get a normal Mania, and we can just have an incredible WrestleMania weekend, which to me was sorely missed.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, when you were talking about the Elias and Baron Corbin match, that's a prime example. You know, Baron Corbin is the type of person that heel heat makes him 10 times better in the ring because of all that heat that he does generate from the crowd on a daily basis.
Right.
Now, I don't know if Elias is playing heel or if he's playing face, because I know he's been like one of those tweeners where we're going back and forth, and you don't know which month which one he's going to be, because he'll come out and insult the crowd and insult the person, but then he'll come out and be nice as well. So it's kind of odd, but I do think that he does run very, very well as a heel, better as a heel than as a face.
Absolutely. It's
he's a heater. I mean, he's good for whatever you need him for.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He's like Bobby Heenan-esque. I mean, if you need somebody to take heat, you go to him. If you need a baby face, go to Bobby Heenan. It's the same rules apply for Elias.
Absolutely so, man. You know, he's somebody who can fill that role, but I think there are other better baby faces, like, and I'm just thinking of people just off the top of my head, like just other baby faces who weren't on the show. You know, this is basically a cross-brand card in anyway, but you have a guy like Rusev, who's insanely popular, and
I was just thinking about him,
and
I was just about to say his name too, if you hadn't.
Right, and it's like he's nowhere to be seen on the card. I believe Joe's injured. I'm trying to think of other like baby faces, but you know, of all the people, Elias, I just question their use of their current babyface depth chart. If Elias was the best that they had to come up with,
the lead up to that match wasn't even the build to the match was he wanted to sing him a song, and he wouldn't let him sing him a song.
Well, right.
So then he pushed him over with Gronk.
Dude, this is insane. Like the fact that the major heat of this angle came right from the Lion King is ridiculous. All right, like King Corbin straight up pulled the freaking Scar "Long Live the King" line. Like I was just dumbfounded. It worked though, because of all the things they chose to recap on night one, that was like one of three things that they chose to. So they obviously felt it was really, really, really important.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So and Josh, man, I don't know how much time you have, but I do have to ask you. We've talked about the title matches and all that kind of stuff. Night one was headlined by my favorite thing on the entire show. The Boneyard match. The Undertaker versus AJ Styles. And Justin, I want to get your opinion on this too. Guys, your thoughts. What did you think of what we witnessed last night, night one?
Well, I know I spoke very briefly to you about this. I took the Boneyard match as a broken universe Lifetime movie combination of thrills, chills, spills, laughter, suspense, whodunit. Didn't see that coming, and just literally just was completely mind blown. I know Hunter had to control that whole situation. Him and Michael Hayes, they were up apparently from like 11:30 at night to 5 a.m. recording it. Took around 5 days to build the set. And they pretty much destroyed the living hell out of it from what I have seen. And that I thought was really, really cool. I do like the homage to the first ever Buried Alive match. I I enjoyed the American Badass Undertaker. I was not a big fan of Big Nasty, but the Badass one, when he came out to Kid Rock's music, I thought was so awesome, and it's so cool to see him do that once again. That's one of my personal favorite Undertakers or incarnations of the Undertaker. He told the story. He said that he's not ready to write out just quite yet. And this match shows him, and he was able to keep up somebody 20 years his age, too. I mean, come on. He went toe-to-toe with AJ Styles and pretty much just owned him. It was fantastic.
Josh, your thoughts, man?
I have to agree. It was probably one of the best things on the card, both nights for sure. I do listen to quite a few podcasts about wrestling, and one of the ones I was listening to, they were really high on AJ Styles to win this match because Undertaker has nothing left to prove, so he would gain nothing from beating AJ Styles in this match. So I was full force into AJ Styles winning this match. I had the AJ Styles shirt on, and Undertaker is my all-time favorite wrestler of all time, hands down number one. My current wrestlers are AJ Styles and The Fiend.
Awesome.
So I was going into there with AJ Styles. Okay, he's going to win. And it blew my mind when how everything happened. It was just like, wow. Like he still got it. And then just reading the report today about, how them building the sets, how long it took to shoot, and how all the banter back and forth between the two were completely ad-libbed was absolutely fantastic reading that. I was like, that is amazing, because they were just, hey, what's my wife's name again? Huh? Huh? Thought that banter was absolutely perfect. And they're both really good competitors. And Undertaker, as far as I knew, wanted to wrestle or wanted to have a match with AJ because of his presence in the just in wrestling in general, his presence. So that was really, really cool to watch that match, and just got the surprise when Undertaker did win. So it was really good. Really, really good.
So one of the things that I can't stand, and this is me just being completely negative, is it seems like everybody online, or not everybody, but there's a large contingent of people online who are attributing this to Matt Hardy with all of his broken stuff in TNA.
Yes, I could see that, and a lot of people like he's like kind of paved the way for this, as what he's saying.
That's what he's saying.
I think I read an article, or read a title of an article that was saying about Matt Hardy, and his thoughts on the match and his praise and such like that. But I was reading a bunch of the comments, and he's not the one who invented this type of, not invented, but like made this a thing. Essentially, I couldn't remember what it was, but I think it was like WWE really started this a long time ago with these style of matches.
I mean, here's the thing: like, it wasn't the look. We are huge fans of the broken universe. We, myself and Justin, we always
delightful.
Yes, we always quote stuff from the final deletion and all that kind of stuff. Like we are fans of that gimmick, but to just assume that because Matt Hardy did this, or like just did these vignettes, 3-4 years ago in Impact, it's ridiculous. And so
yeah,
I love it, but it's also not fair. Like to say that it was just because of him that you'll find some cinematic elements in wrestling. Like Matt Hardy had like he's had a serious problem with taking credit for things other people have done before him, and he doesn't really share credit all that well, and that's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
It was well done, but you know he's not the be all end all.
Right.
This match was well done, and it was shot. I have lots of friends who are on the production staff here. The Performance Center is right down the street from my house. I have a lot of friends. Shout out to Ryan Katz. Shout out to Jeremy Borash. And Borash, who originated that style and did, or he didn't originate it, but he helped with the broken stuff in Impact with Matt Hardy. They shot it, and it was that classic style, and it was excellent. I think The Undertaker now has, if he wants to, a good 5 years. If he just wants to come back and do boneyard matches, I don't think he has to step foot in a ring anymore to make people anticipate his matches anymore. Because to see what they could do on literally no notice, because of current constraints, like this has breathed new life into his character, and it's awesome. I loved it, and to me, it was the best thing on the show by a mile.
Yeah, and they paid pretty good homage to his to the Dead Man Inc. character. And I forgot to say this earlier, but when I started watching wrestling more in depth and with a clear understanding of what's going on, is when Dead Man Inc. was a thing. That was Undertaker. So I fell in love with Undertaker in that character, Biker Taker. Right. That was my Undertaker. And then just watching a lot of the older stuff, saying, oh, he actually had a huge character. Just, this is a revamped character. Oh, okay, cool. So seeing all that come back to life in this match, this was really awesome. And then you see that the big T homage to the old school Taker sign, and in at the end of the match as he was leaving. But I was reading something else saying that was kind of the way that he can put that character to rest, was through that match. So we'll see if they do anything else with him or with that the Dead Man character in future matches.
I honestly don't think you need the Dead Man anymore. I think because here's the thing, like, if you have him transition into this Biker Taker, Mark Calloway hybrid where he can be more of himself, yet still maintain the dead, or like just maintain some of the Dead Man elements with allusions to, to burial and tombstones and things like that. If there are certain spots he can do to kind of like just little winks and nods, kind of like with what we saw in the Firefly Funhouse match tonight. I think you really have a new avenue for Taker matches, which I'll be honest, over the past few years had gotten really, really bad. And and the Undertaker,
that's an understatement of the century.
Right. And the Undertaker, Taker is one of my favorites. He's in my top 5 all time. But yeah, last half a decade, it's been rough. It's been real rough.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're Taker just bought himself 5 more years if he wants it, and just a well done piece from top to bottom. Shout out to AJ, to Taker, to Gallows and Anderson, to the Druids, to the camera crew, to all the production crew. The editor on this thing was awesome.
Oh yeah,
of course you give a shout out to him.
I'm a production guy, man. Like, it's what I do. I can't help it. But
so I not to chime in real quick, but so when I was watching, obviously, the Boneyard match and they had the Druids come out, I was hoping that when all the Druids come out, they would have been like past Mania opponents of the Undertaker, and then he would just have to sit there and just start beating him up. So, and then until I saw the Firefly Funhouse match, and then I went, oh, my idea just got placed somewhere else. That's all.
So let's transition into that then. The Firefly Funhouse. It's been a couple hours since WrestleMania has ended, and we have all
Spoiler alert.
Right. We have ended the show, and we've had some time to digest whatever the Firefly Funhouse was.
The Atomic Drop Show does not endorse any type of hallucinogens or any kind of acid trips of any kind. Drugs are bad for everybody who is listening.
Whatever we saw was heavily drug fueled. I live here. All you got to do is just go down OBT, and there's drugs everywhere. There is. I don't know where, like what kind of street corner they went to. But yeah, whomever came up with this is a nut. But I enjoyed it. It was.
I want to know who signed off on it.
I mean, Vince had to sign off on it.
Well, I mean, Vince had to have.
I mean, I know, but how do you pitch this whole thing to him? And it's like, this is what I got.
It's just like how you pitch. It's just like how you pitched the Fiend character in the first place. He gave him so much creative. Well, I don't know if it was he gave him so much creative freedom, but I think he came up with like, oh, here's 8 episodes of a show of a new character that I created already. Here, look at it. Right. So maybe they just said, here, this is our idea, start to finish. What do you think? And then he's like, okay, tweak here, done.
Vince responds really well to that kind of stuff. If you come up with all kinds of ideas and but real fleshed out kind of ideas, which we know Bray is he has a highly creative mind and he can think of some out there.
You know
stuff.
that now, yes.
Yes, but whatever kind of acid trip this was, I liked it. You had the different gimmicks and the different eras of John Cena. You had
and the fist.
Yeah, you had the Smackdown fist. That might have been the biggest pop of the match for me. Was the return of the Smackdown fist. That was awesome.
It was cool. We had a whole bunch of fisting going on here.
Oh, good Lord.
But just watching it, I remember I sat down and I was watching it, and I was hoping that Ramblin' Rabbit was going to unveil the secrets of how to beat the Fiend or something along those lines to John Cena. And sadly, that never happened. But if I was John Cena going into that, wouldn't you want to ask Ramblin' Rabbit what the secret is?
Well, I think that was something that was going to play out if Roman Reigns had won the Royal Rumble and the Fiend had stayed the Universal Champion. I think that was going to be the potential storyline arc going into there because they started talking about their secrets and how to beat him, but nobody's really had taken advantage of it. I think it was going to be where Roman. I think that was going to be part of Roman's storyline.
True. I mean, and part of it too was that John Cena expressed why can I speak tonight? He expressed this
the Hangover show, buddy.
Absolutely. He expressed the skepticism about just Bray Wyatt and the Fiend in general. John Cena didn't believe any of it. So he's not going to take the time to ask, this character which John thinks is just fake anyway. So it kind of made sense why that John wasn't gonna believe anything he was seeing. That's because every time Bray teleported, that's why every time there was some kind of weird transition, thing happened to him, it was just this disbelief, this can't be real. So it kind of made sense why he didn't do it. I think if there is this secret to beating the Fiend, it's still way too early. He hasn't been this character for a year yet. You need some more time with this character. Either that, or you could just ask Goldberg, because Goldberg defeated the Fiend in like a minute in Saudi Arabia. So
I think it was Saudi Arabia. I think it was.
Yeah, don't remind me of that.
I had to do it. I'm sorry. I had to.
I'm
the buzzkill tonight.
That's like almost as bad as Hell in a Cell all over again.
Dude. Yo, that.
You're right.
Yeah,
Right?
that was one of the worst things I've seen in a very long time. That.
Yeah.
Hey, what did they say? We don't talk about Fight Club.
Yeah. You don't. One of the rules of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club.
Yeah.
Okay. No more talking about Hell in a Cell.
It's one of the unwritten rules of wrestling. You don't talk about Hell in a Cell, and you don't talk about Katie Vick.
No, we could talk about Katie Vick all day, man. I'm all about it. I'm all about that, man. As a matter of fact, man, I think as soon as we get off here, man, I'm gonna have to go and watch that episode again.
Yeah,
just go and
your
watch
time's your time, buddy.
Hey, I'm not that hungover yet, so
yeah.
Really quick, as we just make our way through, want to get into some of the matches from tonight. Edge making his return, his in-ring return to WWE after 9 years, defeating Randy Orton in a match that, and I looked this up, time bell to bell in this last man standing match, 36 minutes and 35 seconds.
Wow.
So after about 15 to 16 minutes, I started looking at the clock. Like, all right.
Yeah.
When's this ending? And then they went more than double that. They had to tell an epic story. It was personal, but it went too long, in my opinion. It was the one match I was really looking forward to more than anything else. And
you got your wish.
Yeah, I got it. It was too big for just one night. Unfortunately, they kept it to just one night. So, your thoughts on this marathon match, Edge and Randy Orton?
My opinion on it was, so I had Mrs. Tyme watching that match, and I also had Junior Tyme with me, little Junior, and just sitting there watching it, and Junior Tyme looks at me and goes, "Is it over yet? Because I want to go to bed."
Yeah.
And I felt for him, and even Mrs. Tyme looked at me and said, "And they're still going?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's a good match, isn't it?" And I mean, granted, we got a very in-depth perspective of the PC that not many people will ever see.
Yeah.
And I was kind of taken back. I did enjoy the warehouse, and I had a question. I saw that they just had out of nowhere a purple hand statue. And I was looking at it. I was more drawn to the purple hand statue than anything else out of the whole damn match. I was like, where did this come from? I want to see more of this purple hand statue. What was the gimmick for? Because it didn't look like an Undertaker type of purple hand statue. It was just a freaking hand that was purple.
I would venture to
maybe Velveteen Dream.
That would have been my guess. I believe it was probably for Velveteen Dream.
Oh, see, there you go. And it was just the most random object out there, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." I mean, they did have the megaphone back there, like a Jimmy Hart type of deal right there. I thought it was pretty cool.
Right.
I mean, I am a detail analyst. I will sit there and just like freeze frame stuff to say, all right, Easter egg, Easter egg, Easter egg, Easter egg. So I thought that was just pretty damn cool. It went far too long for my liking.
Right.
Because then I immediately try to shove the family upstairs to go to bed so I can watch in privacy.
Josh, man, how about you, dude?
Okay. So I got started a little late watching it today. So I was constantly looking at, or my phone would alert me because I follow Cedric Phillips, who has a really cool podcast about wrestling. He does a bunch of stuff, but he was live tweeting.
You can give him a
throughout
shout
the
out.
whole
What's his
thing.
podcast?
Oh, it's the Cedric Phillips podcast. He talks about basketball, wrestling, and Magic the Gathering.
What up, Cedric?
What up, man? Dope.
So.
Come Cedric the Entertainer? I know him.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So he was live tweeting, and he's like, he basically said, like, this is the worst match on this card. And all it was like, oh, hey, here's the idea. You want to just ride around the performance center and just beat each other to smithereens? Sure, cool, let's do it. And that was the premise of the match, so how they were getting it started. But it was just all over the place.
I felt bad because
ahead.
it took forever to get out of the gym. And I was like, how much more workout equipment can you use? I mean, you're in a damn gym. You can use the dumbbells. You can use the weights. You can use the exercise machine. Put his hand inside one of the freaking presses and slam his hand down via that way. I mean, you got creativity right there.
Yo, like one of the best tweets I saw during that match was like, yo, you got Edge and Randy Orton working out in the gym and we can't go.
Yeah.
It's
right.
like that's all kinds of unfair. But no, so yeah, the match did drag. It took way too long. They could have easily cut out half of it and it would have been really good. They tried to tell this epic story. I think this match was probably hurt the most by being at the Performance Center because...
Yeah, I was just about to say, because without the crowd being there, because probably going through a crowd is going to be a lot better than going through an empty Performance Center.
I mean, I don't necessarily mind brawling through the back, but I think because the entire thing was a brawl, that gets old. Just the walk and brawl style doesn't really hold up well for like really much past 15 minutes. If this was in a full stadium, you could at least have an element of in-ring action for like 10 minutes to where you can like get the weapons from under the ring or ringside or wherever, and then you can kind of just have it centered in the ring, just in one spot, to where it's not just the same thing, just the punching and the kicking like that like you get desensitized to it. So I get the story they were trying to tell. It had to be epic. Edge had to defend his wife, defend his family. Randy RKO'd his wife, so clearly Edge had to win, and he had to do it in a brutal fashion. The concerto works, eye for an eye. The story made sense, but I think that the setting, even though people got to see a lot of the PC, including an office that I'm pretty familiar with, it's a dope place in there. The fact that you were limited to a place with no fans, and really, like, just another thing too, the fact that this is the biggest event of the year, right? It's the biggest event of the year. You have, just even on one night, you have 9 matches. You mean to tell me not one person, like not one other wrestler, is going to be backstage? Like, how is the thing completely empty? That I didn't understand. Like, at least show like Elias in the back watching, or show just somebody. But the fact it was only just, if you kind of turn your brain off, it's just Randy, Edge, and the referee. And
a production crew. You saw like around 8 people in production.
Yeah, but they weren't like around and
No.
like just like running down the halls.
You want to hear my theory?
What's your theory?
No, it's going to sound crazy coming from me.
I've heard just about everything from you.
Yes, it's true. I like to think that they were all sitting inside of their cars with the air on, waiting for their matches.
Surprisingly, it's actually not that hot. It rained today, actually. Like it was like almost hurricane storm kind of a weather. So I don't think they really needed much air today. But
This is where I would play the crickets.
yeah, that's fine. We will get more sound effects in the future here. It's our maiden voyage here on our YouTube live stream. But yeah, man, like it was disappointing. The length hurt. The setting hurt. I don't know, man. I left feeling underwhelmed, but I felt like I overwatched one of the better built matches in recent Mania history. And that just sucks.
I have to agree. I mean, they tried. I mean, I would have dug it if they just like opened up the garage door right where they were and kind of like threw them outside for a second, or just kind of just throw them outside for, I don't know, 2-3 minutes. I mean, just let them wrestle outside. I mean, Christ, I know at Full Sail they saw, who was it that got hurt, and Kevin Owens walked right past him and said that sucks.
Oh, you're talking about Hideo Itami?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, Christ, use the back alley. I mean, use the dock ramp, but do something. Make it go outside. I mean, that's where everybody strives, is when they go outside and they got some gimmicky shit out there.
Yeah, it was just too much of the same. Didn't really like it. Maybe if I watch it again, because by this time it was the middle of the show, but it was just, I didn't really feel it. But I'll give it a shot in a couple days and see if my opinion changed on it. Really quick, just want to go through some of the other matches on the card. Starting with stuff from last night. Sami Zayn beating Daniel Bryan, retaining the Intercontinental Championship. One of the better matches on either night. This match had no business being as good as it was for a crowd that was not there. Heck of a match. I really enjoyed it. You guys got any thoughts?
You know what? I'm going to let Josh field this one here.
Okay. So Sammy is one hell of a performer, and we have not been able to see his performances at all for the last, I don't know, probably 7-8 months. He hasn't really wrestled very much.
Right.
Yeah, at least. So he's been managing and a big mouthpiece, but I'm glad that he's finally getting his due. I know that there's a lot of heat on him because how he doesn't go to Saudi Arabia. Well, it's not that he doesn't choose to go, it's because he's not allowed to go. But just in general, hasn't really been a guy that anybody sees, and he's now showing what he showed in NXT all those years ago, that he was there and just having so much fun. And I want to see him as a face again, but his run right now as a heel is pretty epic. And it was really surprised that he got the honestly, I thought it was a surprise when he got the Intercontinental Championship. But they weren't doing anything with Shinsuke. And they're doing something now, at least with both of him and Cesaro are both with Sami Zayn right now. But that match was really good. I like Daniel Bryan and his partnership with the other guy,
Drew Gulak. It rhymes with
Gulak.
attack.
His name is escaping me. It's a new dynamic for Daniel Bryan's character, which it keeps him out of the title picture for now, and keeps him busy until they can get him back into the title picture, and hopefully he wins another world title later on. But it was a really, really well, but I really liked the match.
Yeah. I think for night one, if we're talking about in ring, it's up there, but it might be rivaled by actually two more matches. One, John Morrison defeating Kofi Kingston and Jimmy Uso in the triple threat ladder match for the tag team championships. Car crash, straight up car crash. Lots of heavy editing in that match. But it is what it is. Intense spot fest, but these guys work really well together. It's crazy to think that Morrison he's either near 40 or I think he might be 40, and he's doing he is just as athletic as ever, and it is insane to look at that.
I owe it all to DDP yoga.
Is he into the DDPY?
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the dude does parkour.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't see why he wouldn't be doing yoga.
That's true.
Well, I don't know if he's to the age where some of the wrestlers like Jericho, when he was getting on it and started feeling a lot better when he was towards his end at WWE before going to AEW.
Right.
He started doing it so he can feel better in the ring and not hurt as much and things like that. Take better bumps on his back. But I don't think he's to that point. I think since he's been doing a lot of wrestling over in Lucha. He was doing a lot of wrestling in Lucha Underground and in I keep wanting to call it TNA because that's all I knew it in the Impact.
Wrestling Society X.
Yeah,
that was the best.
Loved
best.
it.
Sorry, yeah.
So he was always staying in shape there, and he does the parkour, whatever that's called. But he can still move like nobody's business.
I just got to throw in my shouts. John Morrison, John Hennigan, Johnny Impact, Johnny Ultra, former PCW. Johnny Nitro, former PCW Ultra Champion. Just got to rep my home company. So shout out to them. But yeah, John Morrison with a creative finish. I haven't seen that finish done before where you fall and land, because he landed on the ladder with the belts, right?
Yes, he did.
I don't think.
Well, he didn't have them in his hands. He picked one up because he fell onto the ladder and then fell to the floor, and one of the belts was still laying on the ladder, and the other one fell to his to his right when you're looking at it on the screen. So he didn't have it in his hand, but he grabbed it. But that hasn't the ladder match for the titles. You don't have to take the title down. You'd have to take the ring down. So when all three of them took the ring down, and you could see just before John Morrison took it was pushed off the ladder, you could see him grab the two latches, essentially the ends of the belt, to unhook them. But he didn't land with them. He grabbed it afterwards.
Now, there is a greater level of psychology within that spot, because John Morrison has been away from WWE since 2012. I think maybe 2013. But when he left, they didn't have the ring. They only had the hook. So naturally, just if we're keeping it kayfabe, right? Naturally, Morrison would just go grab for the belts because that's what he knows. He wouldn't know to grab the actual ring because that's something he's never experienced. So I think it kind of just worked out in his favor. It was a complete fluke win, but it was a great finish, and I think that was one of the better finishes of the night. There's too many stunts to name, too many dives, there's just a lot. We already know about the New Day. The New Day Uso chemistry is ridiculous. John Morrison is he's that dude. There was no explanation for why there is this triple threat match for the tag team championships. There was no explanation about Roman Reigns not being in the Universal title match either. I
It's
guess
WrestleMania. Deal with it.
they're just not going to talk about it.
Yeah, nothing by WWE, but there
Exactly.
was, of course, the report outside of the fact. But I was watching when you're watching the SmackDown or Raw, and you see Morrison and Miz did a was it the Dirt Sheets? I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Yes.
Their show. Okay, so when they did their show, they were dressed up as the other characters, and one of them also was Heavy Machinery. So it was the three. They're playing fans of those particular groups. Which that particular scene was pretty well done. That was pretty early on in the no fan in arena era that we're in now, I guess. But they were flirting with that moment, flirting with the tag team title matches at that point. But it was with the 4 teams, not 3.
Interesting stuff, man. I liked just for whatever you say about them not acknowledging it on television, just about the varying card changes and things like that. If you're focusing just on what you saw as part of WrestleMania, it was a great match. And I think up and down, there was a lot of good on this show. Really quick, just want to go through some rapid fire results as well. Kevin Owens defeated Seth Rollins after a restart, after a disqualification, a massive dive from on top of the WrestleMania sign. I'm glad Shane McMahon wasn't there because he would have done that spot. But just real quick, you guys have any thoughts about that?
I totally agree. I thought that match was 2 Ring of Honor bosses going at it right there. High impact, high stakes. It was phenomenal. I consider that one definitely outside of the Boneyard, the match of the night.
Yeah. I think night 1 to me had the better matches. As far as, work rate and moves and all that kind of stuff. That's in my top 3. It might be my second favorite match of the night.
Second.
Yeah, it might be my second.
I mean, excluding the Boneyard, I think Owens Rollins was definitely number 2.
Yeah, that's my second. Josh, you got anything?
So I liked the restart because it just gave when they had the regular match, it incentivized Seth to just cheat to win, to have the opponent or get disqualified so he didn't have to complete in the match anymore. Honestly, it was. Kevin Owens likes to do those random spots, especially when they had that new set on Raw, and he was the first. He was like, "Oh, I'm going to do a tumble off of that." Right. So doing that rolling ball thing. Yeah. So he was like one of the first to do that, or wanted to make sure that was a spot for him. So, but I mean, I was playing with some cards, and I looked up, and I see him on top of the WrestleMania. So I'm like, oh, hello. All right, here we go. This is what Seth Rollins deserves. And just give credit to Seth in general, his turn into the heel character, into the Monday Night Messiah, probably one of the best things that he's ever done, besides probably the stuff he's worked with the Shield in the early parts of his Shield work. But him turning into the Monday Night Messiah, it's absolutely phenomenal for his character, and he's doing such great work. And I'm glad Kevin Owens is actually getting some time, because some of the other people are not really getting that much time. All the people that were in NXT when 5 years ago when I was watching are now the staples in the main events or in title pictures and things like that. So it's cool seeing them as the headliners too.
Right.
To the shows.
I completely agree. Completely agree. Didn't really talk too much about it. Charlotte Flair, your new NXT Women's Champion, defeating Rhea Ripley. Charlotte Flair, I'm guessing they want that Flair bump on Wednesday nights when it comes to this supposed Wednesday night war with AEW and all this jazz. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference.
I don't think so either.
I like Charlotte, but
She's not a ratings draw.
I don't think she's a ratings draw to the potential NXT audience that is not currently watching. So it's kind of a lateral move. Plus, Rhea Ripley only won the title in December, like the last show of December, and it seems like a really short title reign considering she defeated the damn near unbeatable Shayna Baszler. So
Right.
It didn't really seem right. I think though that Rhea, if this was in the full blown stadium, that Rhea would have probably won. I could see the match being changed due to it being at the Performance Center. Maybe it's just me, but it's just a hunch. I have no inside information about that anyway. But it's just a hunch for me.
Yeah, that makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's it was a fine match. That went 20 minutes and 30 seconds. It did seem to go a little long. I will say this, for those that know, they know. If you know, you know. If you don't, then look it up. That match sounded like Customs. And that's what I'll leave it at. There was a lot of yelling, there was a lot of screaming, and there was a lot of grunting. Really, like, just throughout the entire card.
Well, Ripley's a grunter.
Yes. The lack of crowd noise had, like, just exposed just everybody up and down the card. So
as long as they weren't calling spots, they were all right.
Well, I think for the most part they muted them calling spots. But you heard all the trash talk. Like, one of my biggest just one of the highlights for me was during the ladder match, Uso sent Kofi into one of the ladders and he said, "Yeah, Kofi, I'ma flatten your face like a pancake, boy." And that was a massive pop for me. Massive pop. So the fact you could hear all the trash talk, that was a definite plus for me.
One of my favorite lines out of that whole night was during the Elias match in Baron Corbin, and it was my girl Jessica Carr, the ref.
Yes,
I'll admit. And Baron was yelling at her, and JBL then chimed in. Look at how nice of a guy Baron Corbin is, telling the ref how to do their job. I died laughing. I thought that was the most clever line of the whole damn night, outside of when Otis won and JBL cried, "Somebody please call PETA."
Oh, yo!
Wow, I missed that one.
Shout out to Otis getting the victory against Dolph Ziggler. Mandy Rose making her intentions clear, at least for the moment. Attacking Sonya Deville, that was an interesting development. WWE had to have like this policy of, we have to make sure most of the baby faces go over, just because love stories never pan out well in WWE. But they pulled the trigger on this one and it was good. So, shout out to them for that. Aleister Black defeated Bobby Lashley in 7 minutes and 20 seconds. I have to say, Aleister Black's gear is always on point all the time, and his WrestleMania gear was no different. That man showed out. I am a huge Aleister Black fan. He's that guy, and I don't know what they're doing or like just where they're going with him next. But he has a lot of those tools to be a megastar if they so choose to push him.
Totally that black mass out of nowhere was great.
And you know what? He's been going out on Raw these past few weeks, just murking guys with the black mass just out of nowhere, like just quick squash matches, and like it's kind of what they did with Drew McIntyre as far as trying to build up his Claymore kick. That's what they're doing with the black mass. You can hit it from anywhere. It's kind of like the diamond cutter back in the day, where just at any point you can run into it, you can walk into it. Just if you're throwing a strike or not, you will get caught. And I think Aleister Black, if they want to, which I think Paul Heyman, just with how he's booking and how he's, how he was given like legit a showcase match with no build, that's okay. That's how you know that Aleister Black is one of those pet projects that's gonna hopefully turn out, whether it's with a championship reign or whatever it is, just some kind of a upper mid card main event push. I think it's gonna really turn out well for him.
Yeah, I hope it's better than. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'll let you go. What's up?
I'll say I hope it's better than what they are doing with Ricochet, because he's supposedly a Paul Heyman guy too, and he's just been squash after squash after squash for even the 24/7 title. It's not quite fair. He does so much good work in the ring, but I mean his promos lately have just been god awful. But that's not his fault. The writers mostly for that, but he just is just amazing in the ring.
Yeah, so with Ricochet, he's limited in the WWE setting.
Yeah.
Look, athletically, he's untouchable. He can do ridiculous things. He's one of the most athletically gifted superstars they have on any roster, at the PC, wherever dude can go. But on the mic, he's severely limited. And the fact that, that typically if you're introduced on national television, on Raw or SmackDown or even NXT to a certain extent, and your whole gimmick is, I'm a dude from a small town and I'm just happy to be here, that's not really much to get behind. And so you'll kind of suffer, and it's a shame because he's a really good worker. He could do all the crazy moves and all that, but there's something that's just a disconnect. I've seen comparisons to Rey Mysterio, but there's something inherently charismatic about Rey that, really, like, not all small guys have. And Ricochet, there's just something when you're when he's talking, there's maybe he's just not as believable, or just it's kind of hard to put my finger on it, but there's something missing. And if we see it as fans, that the office sees it, and they're not gonna push somebody and give them significant TV time if they feel you're weak or there is a deficiency in that department, because there's too much talent that they can rely on. There's just way too much talent. I think, and you started talking about Ricochet, another guy who is a bona fide Paul Heyman guy who got a chance late last year was Cedric Alexander, and I'm a massive Cedric fan. Like he's I've been following him and his career for years, and he's one of those other super athletic guys. But Cedric, he has a problem connecting with the crowd. I'm going to say this in all transparency. he's a buddy of mine, so he has a personality, and he's really funny and he's really charismatic. But sometimes guys just don't like it. It doesn't translate on camera, and he's one of those guys, kind of like a Ricochet, where it's the same thing. He's not like, there is a disconnect once that red light comes on. But I hope he gets it. I hope Ricochet gets it. Aleister Black, he has all the tools to get to that next level. They just got to push him, and I think they are really keen on that. Really quick, just because I don't know how much time we have left on our stream, but I want to get through these matches really quick as well. The Street Profits defeated Angel Garza and Austin Theory with Zelina Vega. We had an appearance by Bianca Belair at the very end. This match, no massive build. We've gone through various card changes, and there was Andrade and then Austin Theory, and then just lots of crazy shenanigans going on and lots of guest appearances and things like that. You guys have any thoughts about either team, about any of the guys?
I'm just glad to see that Ford recovered from that botched back body drop from Monday night.
Oh, God.
Dude, that was terrible.
That was so bad. Those were. I was reading some things that he potentially had broken his back while doing it. So I'm glad that that's not the case, so they can just continue on. Because I love the Street Profits. They're awesome.
Yes, they are. They are incredible. You know what? And I gotta say this. People keep saying that Montez Ford is like far and away the star of the Street Profits. Sure that may be true, but I think Angelo Dawkins is actually very underrated too. He's a very good worker. Plus, nobody really talks about it, but the running Stinger 360, the running 360 Stinger splash he does in the corner, that is crispy. That is dope. And nobody ever really talks about it, but watch all of his matches. He always does the running, from corner to corner, running 360 Stinger splash, and it is a thing of beauty. It is gorgeous. And both guys are just, they are tremendous. They are a complete act, and there's still time. They're still gonna get better with more exposure, with more experience. And I am really high on those two. I'm high on Angel Garza. He could be a massive star, worldwide appeal. Zelina Vega is incredible as a manager. She's found what she was made to do. She found her niche. That is, she can do that, and she can go down as one of the greats if she keeps at it, which I don't see why she wouldn't. Austin Theory, to me, the jury's still out. He's still really young, but they're obviously high on him at this point. I hope they don't treat him like a Humberto Carrillo and give him a spotlight for a moment and then just decide they're kind of sick of him and they don't want to push him. I think there's something there, but it seems a little early for him to be out there. But again, it's just extenuating circumstances with the talent pool that they had to work with. Guys, have anything else on any of these guys?
No, I'm good. I said I talked about the bump, so from Monday.
Yeah,
which is still relevant to me. So,
okay, really quick. Pre-show matches. Cesaro defeated Drew Gulak.
Loved it. Loved it.
It was only 4 minutes and 25 seconds, but that was a little taste of what those two could do. I want to see them go at it again and give them 15 minutes on another pay-per-view, 15 minutes on TV, preferably with a crowd. But yeah, no, they are two of the very best in-ring technicians in that company right now, and it was a great match for me.
As you know, I'm a Gulak mark. I'm a huge Gulak mark. And I'm also so incredibly high in Cesaro, who is a hell of a sleeper. But what sold me was how Cesaro was doing the spin without holding him and just kind of put his hands on his hips.
That's the best.
And just kept, oh my God. I watched it and I went, how can he keep outdoing himself every damn year? But he freaking does it. It's amazing. I was so happy. I was happy that they were the kickoff. I wish it was a Mania. I wish they were given at least 10 minutes because I love Gulak as a technician. I know Cesaro is sound as a wrestler. Remember when we started to do our fantasy draft on who we wanted? And I remember I chose Daniel Bryan and Gulak and Cesaro all on my Raw team. And I am so incredibly happy that I got to see this pairing of this. I'm happy. I want to see more of it, and I know I'm going to get it.
You know, you brought up those draft rosters. We might have to revisit that on our next episode and see how our draft picks are doing, because there's a lot that has happened over these last few months since that draft, and yeah, I'm curious to see where everybody panned out. The other pre-show match from tonight.
That's what they call a teaser in the business, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely. Liv Morgan defeated Natalya in tonight's pre-show match. 625. Your thoughts? Anything?
I will be brutally honest. I missed the pre-show for this evening.
Hey, it's okay. I wouldn't want to spend an hour watching Graves and Rosenberg either. So I get it.
I felt bad that I missed it. I was too busy trying to finish prepping up my room for painting tomorrow, because that's what it's like to be in quarantine.
Yeah, like I keep telling you, you're at least being productive. So that's not a bad thing. That's a good problem to have as far as I'm concerned. Josh, did you happen to catch that pre-show or not?
I did not catch any pre-show.
Yeah.
I was really late in the game, both WrestleManias, so yesterday and today. I am actually fortunate enough that I'm still able to work from home for my company, taking calls to try and place orders to generate some revenue.
Hey,
so.
Give yourself a shout out.
All hail Living Spaces.
Living Spaces. Man.
That's right.
Yo. That company has been good to you, man. Like it's been So I shout out to them for
14 years strong. 15 years strong, man.
Dude, that's awesome. I'm happy you're still able to work and to, help generate some revenue for your company, for yourself and for your fellow employees. Like, that's really cool, man, because there's a lot of people that don't have that opportunity right now. So I'm really glad to hear that. Our final match that we didn't go into at all, Bayley defeated Lacey Evans, Naomi, Tamina, and Sasha Banks. There was the tease of Sasha and Bayley breaking up. I think that's the main thing you want to get, or you could get from this match.
Yeah,
I'm a massive fan of Bayley, in the same way that I'm a massive fan of Shayna Baszler. So I don't want to see Bayley's championship reign end, but she has had it for quite a while. Still, for what it was like, just to me, I thought it was really good, but I might just be blinded from my adoration of Bayley. So, what y'all got to say about this?
I told you what my buddy said. He was rooting for thick Taylor Swift, and I was still rooting for Lacey Evans too the whole entire time. I had high hopes that she was going to capture it. It seemed promising. I mean, to be one of the last ones, that's a big feat right there.
Yeah, they always like to keep Lacey in that mix, which is crazy because she's been in title matches. She's feuded with Bayley. She's feuded with Becky Lynch. But she's never won that championship. on either brand. I think because it's clear they're grooming her for a championship run. I think once that moment happens, they want it to be a massive win, and they're gonna want her family in the crowd. They are gonna want a crowd. So I didn't expect her to win it, but I did expect some kind of a title change, and I was thinking it might have been Sasha Banks, but instead we got a tease of dissension. Where do you think this is gonna go? We've seen teases in the past that didn't go anywhere. What's the end game here, guys?
Well, I think they're treating this like Gargano and Ciampa. They're slow. If they've proved that model to be successful as far as the turning on your partner and then creating these just epic matches after epic matches. I mean, credit to Gargano and Ciampa; those are two just dynamic performers themselves. But I think this is they've been teasing at this for years with them too, but a lot of it has been Sasha's been the heel and Bayley's been the face. Now we have Bayley being the heel, and frankly, this is probably one of the best way for her to be right now is to be this heel, this dynamic heel. But Sasha being the face in the rivalry could throw something completely different into the mix, and we haven't seen yet between those two. So there could be it's the same rivalry and the same one versus the other, but just at a completely different dynamic because they flipped their roles.
I'm going to add in on that, having partners turn against each other in that sense. One of the greatest ones I think you guys can even possibly agree would be Zayn and Owens, when those two just went back and forth on each other, and everyone was chanting "Fight forever." And it was like, I do want to see these two fight forever, because when you wrestle your best friend, you know that you're going to give everything you got to put that person over, and I think it's more investment.
Yeah, and those two did have the best match arguably in NXT history. When they're fighting for the women's championship.
It's certainly in the conversation. I'm struggling to think of a better one. I'm assuming you're talking about the one in Brooklyn, right? Where Bayley finally won the title. Yeah.
Won the first time. Yeah, that's arguably the best match in history. Best women's match, probably by far, but arguably the best match in general. But you can probably have some Ciampa and Gargano in that conversation as well, because they've had several epic matches themselves.
This is going to be we could branch off in an entirely different kind of conversation about Johnny Gargano matches.
Please don't.
I won't. But
please don't.
I know, because we don't have that kind of time. We're and Josh, like, full transparency. I mean, we're all quarantined, but like we're like East Coast guys, so I know what out your way. It's like 10:30 now, right?
Yeah, it's approaching. That's right. You guys are on East Coast. I didn't even think about
that. It's
1:30
in the morning.
Okay.
So we're look, I'm always down down to talk some wrestling, but I just in a I'm just floating that time difference out there currently. But no, we're I'm
good whenever you guys are. I'm just happy to be on. This is awesome. I haven't been able to nerd out about wrestling in a long time, and I've been just trying to absorb as much information as possible. So now being able to spew out these these random facts about matches and random stuff like that is exciting. So I'm glad to be on. I appreciate you guys taking the time and talking and letting me talk and give my thoughts on these matches.
You have a home here whenever you want it, man. It's the same number. We usually air Thursday nights. So we will. One, I'll be in touch personally, because we do have to catch up just beyond
There you
the
go.
wrestling tip. But yeah, man, just whenever you want to talk some wrestling, man, we're here. So, but yeah, man, like Johnny Gargano has these epic matches.
Oh, son of a...
No. Hold on. I'm not gonna start. All right. I'm not.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Yes, I am sure. Johnny Gargano has epic matches, and I think his epic matches, which are heralded as really good, are actually they're his biggest detriment. If he's working a 20-minute NXT TV match at Full Sail, awesome. Give me those doses of Johnny Gargano. Give me Johnny wrestling, not your takeover style Johnny Kickout. That's all I'll say for right now. He's an incredible professional wrestler. I can't take that away from him, but I think the way his matches go, if you watch all of them, all of his takeover matches, they follow a certain pattern, and it's usually very spot heavy, and you're doing near falls within the first 7 minutes, which would be fine if your matches go like 15, except they always go 25 to 30. And so, so I begin to get a little numb. Again,
Gotcha.
we can have, I can give you full examples, just not tonight. But
Yeah.
as far as being the best match in NXT history, Bayley and Sasha, yeah, that is up there. I'm struggling to think. I'm struggling to think of better overall matches. I'm thinking of moments, but matches bell to bell, that one might be untouched. That's another one, man. I really gotta think about it. Really gotta think about it. So that was WrestleMania 36, night 1 and night 2. I think we touched on all the matches tonight. Justin, Josh, you have any final thoughts about any part of WrestleMania, or just the build to it, how it looked on TV, whether you're sick of wrestling after 2 nights? What are your guys' overall thoughts here as we start to wrap up?
I will give a quick synopsis, and I'll probably, after I go to bed and recollect my thoughts and rewatch some things, I'll give a better analysis on Thursday. At this moment in time, like we spoke about at the top of the hour, Jesus Christ, we're already almost 2.5 hours in. We're almost a fucking full-length movie.
Too big for one night.
Yeah, tell me about it. This was well needed. This was a very nice, well-deserved break from the monotony of what the hell's been going on. So I think 2 nights to have something to distract us was perfect. In all honesty, I was able to get my alone time for my family. I love my family, don't get me wrong, but I also love them when I'm away from them too. Separation makes the heart grow fonder.
There you go.
But I thought it was the perfect amount. How they use certain types of matches should not be done. Like, they should be saved, kind of like Finn Balor is a demon, save it for super special occasions. And I just feel that it's time to go to bed.
That's fair enough. Josh, you got anything, man?
Honestly, it was a really, really good show, minus the couple of matches that needed that crowd reaction. Honestly, I can't wait for tomorrow night to see who those after WrestleMania call-ups, or not call-ups, but the after WrestleMania pops. I can't wait for those tomorrow, because I have an idea of some people that may may show up. I can't think of them off the top of my head right now, but as I was watching the show, I was like, ooh, I wonder tomorrow if this person's going to show up, or what if tomorrow this person's going to show up. So
wait.
After,
So are you talking so are you talking call-ups, or are you talking just cross pollination between brands, or like how do you mean?
like returns. So
Okay,
like for
gotcha.
example, for example, Ember Moon or why can't I remember her name? Nia Jax. You know, because they haven't been around for a while. You know, Nia was hurt for a long time, and Ember Moon's been hurt for a while. So this could create some new blood in the different pools. Even though it looks like after the two women's matches, it seems like they're settling into a pretty. That's the start of a longer feud that could pay off at a probably SummerSlam. So
we can only hope. We can only hope.
Yeah.
Man. There's a lot of uncertainty. I don't know if we'll see returns. Sure. Like you want to spice things up, because there's really there aren't a whole lot of places that we can go apart from the women's singles feuds. As far as like the men are concerned, those storylines are kind of just used up and dry already. But you want to save returns for when you actually get crowd pops and when it actually means something.
Yeah, so would they just save those for when they're their first show back and have those massive pops for the people that are coming back, or somebody gets called up to quote unquote called up to the show, you know?
Yeah, man. I certainly hope so. I mean, but then look, let's be honest here. You had Bianca Belair come out and hit Zelina Vega with the I'm missing, or I can't think of her finishing move. Is it the KOD? Something like that?
Yes. KOD. Yep.
Rise of KOD?
Yep. Kiss of death.
Thank you. So she hit her with the KOD, and so, you know, and as far as I know, she's on NXT. You have Austin Theory being called up out of nowhere. You had Angel Garza being called up from out of nowhere like 2 months ago. You have there was somebody else who was recently called up from NXT, but I can't think of who they are. I don't believe they were on the show tonight, but somebody not too long ago that was like a heavy presence on NXT that got the call up. Either way, they're like these PC shows have kind of forced WWE's hand to rely on some of those younger talent that might not have gotten a ton of exposure on NXT, but hopefully can make a bigger splash on Monday and Friday nights. Either way, it's going to be really cool to see. Hopefully we can continue to get some good content, and hopefully you guys can continue to be safe out there. Really quick, Josh, do you have anything to plug? I mean, it's you know, it's at the end of the show, but we are plugger people. So you got anything to plug? Social media, jobs, anything like that?
Yeah, for sure. So in the chats, I was chatting at Stompmaster Gaming. That is my YouTube channel. I produce Pokemon Go content.
Dope.
So check it out. I haven't posted in a while because of the quarantine stuff, but lots of cool videos about gameplay. I live in a small town in San Diego County called Fallbrook, but my ventures into San Diego, Vista, all throughout Cerritos area and such. So lots of cool videos out there. So yeah, definitely check it out. Stompmaster Gaming.
Stompmaster Gaming. Check him out. YouTube, my man Josh, man, thanks for calling in, man. We really do appreciate it. Gotta catch up with you later, man, but it has been our pleasure to talk to you about Mania and just all things going on in wrestling, man. I really appreciate you, bruh.
Oh, no, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it as well. It was a lot of fun. So,
hey, glad to help.
Oh, shoot. Justin, as we wrap up, you got anything to plug?
Any man with two hands has a fighting chance.
Oh, we don't quote Ellsworth, man. He's a bad guy, man. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
That
allegedly.
That's a pat.
It's the first thing that just came to mind.
That's a pat thing. Always have to say allegedly. That's an inside joke. Anyway, so beyond that, I gotta plug a few things myself. Swerve City. We are not just a podcast. I work on a couple. Of course, the Atomic Drop Show. This show is our baby. It's my baby. Love this show. We have been doing this for a very long time. But
it's a marriage.
Well, yes, absolutely. Beyond that, I am part of the Swerve City podcast team with WWE NXT superstar Isaiah Swerve Scott, and Swerve and my man Montezi. They came out with a rap album called From Humble Beginnings. It came out yesterday, and we released a music video for the title track Body Art, featuring WWE NXT superstar Caden Carter, AEW superstar Big Swole, and a few special guest appearances from people we can't necessarily plug, but if you see their tattoos, you probably will figure it out.
You know what I heard?
What'd you hear?
I heard that the producing on that video was phenomenal.
I can neither confirm nor deny that. I have no idea who shot or edited that video. I've
just given that person props.
I'm sure that person appreciates it very, very much. So yeah. Go to Swerve City Podcast on YouTube. Follow Swerve City Pod on all social media for that. I also host and produce and edit and do all the stuff for everything PCW Ultra. Go to PCWUltra.com every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. We have PCW Ultra Mutiny, and we will show you the very best from one of the best indie promotions in Southern California, really the entire country. Every single NXT star every most of the hottest independent stars that have come on the scene within the last 5 years have stepped inside of a PCW Ultra ring and relived those moments every week on PCW Ultra Mutiny every Friday on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter at Behind the Mic. That's MIKE, Behind the Mic 33. And dude, follow this show on all social media. We are hoping to grow this channel and grow all of our social media as well, so you know where to find us. Every Thursday night we come to you here on YouTube. Hopefully this all sounds good and all of the recording works well.
You're just hoping.
Yeah, and just join us every single week. Talk wrestling with us. The number does not change. So
unless we go somewhere else.
Nah, don't say that, man. Don't put it out there. It's show one. Under the new system. Don't jinx us yet. But yeah. So come along with us on this ride. We appreciate you for listening. We appreciate you for watching.
You know what?
What's up?
I'm going to plug that number one time. 803-369-3537. Again, the Atomic Drop Show's phone number, 803-369-3537.
369 think it's second to me one. Anyway, sorry.
Woo-woo.
Yeah. So
To the window.
to the wall. Anyway, man, look, it is 1:45 in the morning. We gotta go. Guys, thank you so much. Yeah, we are tired. We are delirious. We are hungover. And we are the Atomic Drop Show. So for just in time, wait, no. You do the buys.
I do the buys.
Yo, I'm suing the gimmick. I'm sorry.
Gimmick infringement.
It's all good. I'll shut up.
For Kyle Cruz, this is Just in Time, and we will see everybody hopefully this Thursday. See you!
Later.